Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between a game I just played here on Steps of War. This was one of those games, this was a fun game, just to see units and unit combinations, just to give you guys an update on when this game was released or when this game was played. It's the Saturday after the second patch. So, what is that? Barracks build time has been reduced by 5, factory build time has been reduced by 5, reactor build time has reduced by 15, Tech Lab build time has been reduced by 5. So definite Terran boost in this particular patch. We'll see how it really plays out right now. One of the things that I've noticed, or one of the things that I've been watching, is that with the orbital command being moved from a 50-second build time down to a 35, it makes more sense to upgrade that orbital command around 16 or 12 food, 12 to 13 food, and it really gives you a boost in your economy. It's amazing how much it gives you that early in the game. So before at 50, it was kind of hard to justify it because you stopped your SCV production. But now I really like it. Barracks now going to be built by this. Nope. Am I going to build that barracks? There it is. Barracks now being built by that single SCV, and we now have our standard scouting SCVs and probes. Still trying to find a good time on when to build, when to scout with SCV and probes. It seems kind of difficult on when we want to, or when players really want to scout, as minerals are just so important early in the game. But against a Protoss player, I really want to figure out what his strategy is going to be. If his strategy is in fact going to be, if his strategy is going to be zealots or stalkers. Because if he's just going straight zealots, if I don't see this gas, and I see a secondary gateway, I know that he's going to go mass zealots, and I need to get those reapers in order to counter it. Terran right now, Terran kind of plays like the counter race, like the ultimate counter fighter, where if you know what your opponent is going, you can build those proper counter units. Otherwise, you're in trouble. If your opponent is building stalkers, you can't be building reapers. It's easier for Protoss players, it feels, to mass up those other units, gateways, and continue producing great units after. The Stalker, the Dark Templar, and the High Templar, the Sentry, those are all, 5 units from that gateway, and those are all pretty strong units, as opposed to a Terran Marine, or Terran Barracks, which only produces Marines, Reapers, Marauders, and Ghost. So that's one additional unit, and none of those are really Tier 3 units, so that's why you can mass up a little bit more gateways. Probe now trying to take down this one refinery, not going to be able to get it out. Mule getting that call down, so getting that orbital command much earlier than normal, and we'll see that Mule just taking away those minerals really quickly. So 30 minerals per trip, so it sits there, it gathers like 30 minerals and then moves back. So that's really fast. 30 minerals per trip, very nice. It will give me a definite economic boost. I swear I set the affinity on this particular thing. Hold on, I'm going to pause this replay for a second and double check it. Alright, I checked it. I did fix the affinity. Hopefully there wasn't too much of a lag in between that pause and that start back up for you guys. I did pause the replay, and I tried to take out as much of that dead time as I could. Right now we have that Tech Lab, and now we have Marauders being produced. Marauders being produced because I did see that Cybernetics core go down. So when you see that Cybernetics core go down, you really have to figure out what the strategy is going to be. Whenever you see a single gateway, scouting against Protoss, whenever you see a single gateway, you know that he is in fact not going to be going Stalkers and not going to be going Templar Archives. So figure out if they're going to be going Robotic Support Bay or Stargate. If it's Robotics Facility. If it's a Robotics Facility, then you have to get Stimp on your Marines. Otherwise, those Immortals are just going to be dealing so much damage. I think I end up getting Combat Shield first just because I wanted a little bit more health on my Marines, as he had enough Stalkers to really take it down. So right now I'm getting that Barracks, also have that Reactor Core, and I'm just going to be spamming Marines like crazy, just trying to get, I'm queuing up 8 Marines. You see these Marines being built, one in the main Barracks, one in that Reactor, to just try to train more units. What is that? That's about 400 minerals of Marines just sitting in that queue, with Marauders still being produced. No Marauders being produced right now. And now I'm getting that factory down. So a factory, in order to tech to medevac, and also try to get some Vikings. Whenever you see a single gateway, you need to get your starport early. The two options are either going to be immortals, and if there are immortals, you need to get you need to get banshees with that tech lab in order to counter that very well, unless they have a lot of stalkers. Or they could be going colossi, and if they're going colossi, you absolutely need Vikings in order to take down colossi, because those colossi are just that strong. You don't want to be going siege tanks against colossi, even though it is an armored unit, because there's these immortals, and these immortals dealing that amazing 50 damage per shot. 3 shots with the help, maybe like 1 stray shot from a zealot, 3 shots from an immortal can focus fire down and take down a siege tank, and that is just really strong. Coming back over here, I go ahead and move out with my small army. I want to make sure that I don't get stuck in my base too much. I don't want to mass up in my base. I want to figure out what's happening out there if he's getting an expansion. I'm also being more careful between using mules and also using orbital and getting that scanner sweep. That scanner sweep is very important in terms of figuring out what his army is going to be and what you're really trying to counter. And Yepp right now is sitting with 2 immortals, 2 stalkers and 1 single zealot, and producing a colossi right now. Also has that chrono boost ability sitting on that colossus, so that colossus will be produced very, very quickly. Cybernetics core looks like it's spinning, but it's not really producing anything right now. So that's a fairly decent sized army. 42 over 50 compared to my 50 over 50, so I have a larger army, but he has better teched units. Those immortals counteract my marauders better. I do in fact have that combat shield for those marines. I do a scanner sweep up here, and as I do a scanner sweep to try to check out this expansion, I realize there's a colossus, and I know for a fact that I cannot engage this army at this time. So this is the current army of the Protoss player sitting in his base, only from a single gateway and a single robotics facility. So that's a very, very nice army. That support bay, robotics bay being built in the back, and now getting that extended thermal lance in order to be able to shoot and deal more damage. Right now, here are the other upgrades from the robotics support bay: increased movement speed of observers and increased movement speed of warp prisms. Out comes now another probe, perhaps to try to set up an expansion. And in fact, we have just setting up a pylon right here, and we have both of us just trying to figure out. I'm trying to get up into that higher ground. I need to sit in this high ground, and now I have medevacs, and now I'm also producing Vikings. Vikings going to be countering that Colossus right there, and I'm sitting on a lot of minerals as well. So I want to be spamming as many Marines as I can. I did switch the reactor core from that starport in order to produce double Vikings. I probably should have built a reactor core here, and I think I will in just a moment, building a reactor core here in order to pump out more Marines. These Marines pretty durable with that medevac in the air and with that 55 hit points. Here we have 2 Colossi, a couple Stalkers. He's probably looking pretty strong and pretty happy right now. 59 army against 63. I only have 2 Vikings trying to produce more. I kind of got supply locked for a second. Not enough gas. And here comes this fight right now. The Colossus able to shoot up and see up into that high ground. I'm trying to focus down those Colossus. You're trying to micro those Vikings back once again, and I get those Stalkers to overcommit, so able to shoot down some of those Stalkers. Stalkers are now being forced to engage my Marauders as my computer freezes. Oh, this is annoying. And now here it goes once again. Medevacs healing up those units and able to try to shoot down any of these Immortals. And this is going to be a pretty even fight. It looks really bad for me as he's getting more reinforcements, but I have Marauders, and those Marauders, once those Immortals lose their shields, it is pretty difficult. And now that single Viking up in the air trying to take down the rest of that Colossi. So I'm going to have 2 Colossus or 2 Vikings try to take down that Colossi, that Colossus. That Colossus dealing so much damage. I don't know why it didn't walk down that cliff. Down to 70, down to 44. Those Vikings with that very long range able to shoot it down. And now I'm going to then be able to push back that attack. That Colossus costing an amazing 300 minerals and 200 gas. So that's a definite boost to my army to get that down. Secondary gateway finally coming in from Yepp, and a forge coming in as well. He is getting an expansion. So I know that I cannot allow him to get this expansion, so I need to be able to mass up my army as quickly as possible. I'm sitting on 1,250 minerals. microing this fight over here. Here comes a single stalker. I want to try to focus on that stalker, but I realize I can't do it as there was also an immortal in that fight. So those Vikings are going to be forced to push to the back. I kind of feint that I'm going up to that high ground piece. I do not want him to really re-engage me. If he re-engages me, I'm going to have a really hard time at this point. Stay tuned for part 2 and the conclusion of this replay between Yepp and myself here on Steps of War.